Greetings, Earthlings. I am about to listen to a really weird album by a little artist called, well, actually, I don't really know how to pronounce this because when I have pronounced it, I've been corrected in multiple ways. Yeah, how do you pronounce this artist? Do it phonetically. I want to see if there's a pattern. We are listening to Confield. Please tell me there's no other way to pronounce that. I'm going to say nobody is correct unless you have heard them pronounce their name in an interview and can link it. Quincy Jones, they pronounce it with the Rockdale accent. Did I even say that right? Autechre? I don't know what this is going to be like. I listened to all of Incunabula and had an impression of kind of what they were like, but that was their very first album. They were very, very, very young. I don't even think I'm going to need this keyboard today, but just in case it's out, this is 6 Sco's Poise. This is like scratching itches in my brain. I like this. Not like that's my review. I don't like it, but I did enjoy this one. It's the texture of the. I was trying to figure out what it was. It feels like a metallic sound, and it's obviously being run through something that is mangling it, splicing, chopping, what have you. I can't say that I could guess what is doing that, but I did detect a very subtle pulse to it. It was about like this. Some moments were more rhythmically cohesive than others, but when it all came together, I was like, that is totally a rhythm. And perhaps the other parts that didn't feel as rhythmically cohesive, it was just because of the way this sample perhaps was being chopped up, that the little units, the little chops weren't as clean. There was more bleed happening or something, so that the rhythms got kind of, like this. But other times when it became clearer, it was like, oh yeah, there's totally like, there was a rhythm. I think maybe I just made it up. That's another possibility. But it does kind of match the, I think, pulse that is sort of implied by the melody, which I was surprised. Not that I don't expect them to be melodic, but I didn't expect them to be melodic in this album for some reason, because of the other more newer stuff that y'all had requested in live streams that I remember being atonal. So that was kind of nice, and it was very pretty, and I can play it for you. I tuned my keyboard down, I think not a lot, like 5 or 6 cents. And it's basically in C sharp minor blues, pretty much. Way down low, C sharp, which is the tonal center, and sometimes even down further. That felt really good. I love that. And it's this beautiful kind of gentle, like, this is the category of synth leads that I put in the bell-like category. Even though it doesn't sound like someone actually hitting a bell, it doesn't sound metal. That's just always the way I would think about it when I was writing electronic music. You know, when I was younger, I was like, oh, these bell leads. They have a strong attack, but it still feels soft, as if it were being hit by a mallet. But it, you know, you can hear the onset very clearly. It's not like a pad that swells in, right? And then it decays, but it rings. It has like this little, and it's kind of, they're sweet sounds. They're sweet. So, da 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 da, and then they would go to the next chord, B, and sometimes do it again, which is really pretty. And then one time they did, I think, oh, maybe it wasn't blues. Maybe it would have to be that note. I don't think it was that. Okay, maybe it's just pentatonic then, minor pentatonic. Which, by the way, is one of the funnest scales to improvise in, because nothing sounds wrong. It's really freeing. You can just do anything, and you can do it all in the black keys, and it'll just sound amazing. Everything sounds really pretty. All the dissonances are really pleasing. Anyway, there is an artist that a friend introduced to me that this kind of reminds me of, Morgan Packard. Textures creating rhythms, but the textures do sound like some real sound. It does sound like, you know, you're like, oh, it sounds like ping pong balls. Oh, it sounds like bubbles. Oh, it's, you know, it's just like very real life sounds. So I got that feeling with this one too. And then like a really beautiful, again, kind of vibraphony, sweet bell melody. So I enjoyed this. I thought it was kind of cool. Next one is called Sea Fern. Oh my. Yeah. Okay. All right. Something I meant to mention between the last two songs that I forgot was Roger said that some of this was composed using Max MSP. So interesting. I have a little bit of experience with Max MSP plus Jitter. It's like a video component, if I remember correctly. This was a long time ago from college for a project. After finishing the project, I completely forgot how to use it. I haven't even tried, I think, to use it since. Who knows? But I remember kind of the gist of how to, the layout and the different little modules and things you can hook up, and, it could do lots of stuff. So knowing that, some of this is starting to feel a little bit more like it makes sense. It's the generative nature, the way it's kind of constantly changing, and that there's so much unpredictability to how it's changing. The timing of this is very compelling. Because I'm a harmony junkie, I was definitely honing in on what was going on with the bass line. I'll have to go back to the beginning to see what else was happening. They had more notes in the beginning. There was harmony, but it was pretty dissonant and strange and very hard to predict and follow what it was doing. Very unconventional. I couldn't detect any typical patterns that I used to quickly figure things out. But the percussion was really hard to ignore because it was constantly changing and very, very syncopated. And I think at first, probably all of us were like, what is going on? We're trying to find some kind of beat, right? Something to make it all make sense. Then I found it and I counted 6, 8. 1 and a 2 and a 1 and a 2 and a 1 and a 2 and a, however, highly syncopated beats and rhythms, I should say, within that structure. But that's kind of what it was outlining for me. But then it seemed as if they were starting to play around with with some metric modulation. Other times it started to sound like 12/8, which has a different vibe for sure. And then even straightening it out to 4/4. Then it felt like they were messing with what I would say is the swing. The beat is divided into two, and one of them is longer than the other. That's the classic one. Is the first one's longer, the second one's shorter. So you get ta 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 ta, long, short, long, short, long, short, long. And meters that are subdivided into 3, you can take the first 2 of those 3 and make them one long note, and then that's the long, and then the leftover one's the short. So that has an inherent feeling of swing. But then it felt like they went to 4/4 and started messing with the swing, so that the long note got so long, and the short note was like da 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 da, da like that, and then they went back. So I was just imagining someone like. Now for the harmony, I did detect a chromatic bass line. Approximately, which was highlighted near the end, but at the beginning. Okay, there we go. Now I can hear the 12/8. 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3, as opposed to 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 of 6 8 and da 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 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3. There we go. Okay. All right. Fuck. This is totally figure-outable. Is that what I just heard? I mean, just that alone is very dissonant. We got a half step here, and again, this is a pattern that is not in a lot of scales. And there. Da, da, da. I bet you this would just start to make more and more sense the more you listen to it. I'm sure there's a pattern, but it's not apparent immediately like it is in a lot of other music. Like pop music, all the patterns are right there. There's nothing for you to, I think, dig around for and discover and get used to. It's something that you already know. You already know the patterns. So this is it feels pretty fresh. Next is Pen Expers. and get back on. Okay. There's like some major side chaining happening with some synth layer. It's desperately trying to be heard. I think it's pretty. Breakdown has begun. Ooh, wow. So they took like, I don't know, maybe kind of a typical drum beat, you know, you really could clearly hear that kind of fat snare, and then they just, every single repetition is completely different than the first. And I would say that about every single bar of this song. It's always changing. It's like the opposite of looped music. I mean, yes, there are things that are looping, but they are being pushed through a different kind of sieve every time, constantly, you know. So ever changing, ever evolving, and that's what keeps it interesting, right? The synth parts underneath sounded like at first they were struggling to be heard. They were being pushed down a lot by, my guess is, a sidechain compressor, just because of the way when the drums would let off for like any amount of time, you would hear it come up really loud and then yeah, but then it seemed like they were easing back on that compression, and so that the synth would slowly begin to assert its place in the song and come up higher and higher in volume and get squashed less drastically. And so that was a nice feeling of it slowly entering. And then I was trying to figure it out. And so it's kind of in A minor is how I hear it. You could also say C major. They have actually the same notes and all the same chords. It's just a matter of your interpretation of where everything feels like it resolves and where you would start the scale. Oh, so it does go back. So it does literally goes like this. Same interval. Now, why is that so pretty and why does it feel kind of emotional? I think it's because these lower notes feel like a bass line and they're kind of implying chords with the notes above. You know, if you had to make them into chords, you could do A minor. Then the next one would be E minor. Then it was G, right? Then it was back to E, I think. Then to C. Then to F. Then to A. And that's, you know, it has a narrative, it has a pattern that we're used to hearing. But it's obviously not that. It's just these two notes at a time. But if you watched my video about this, there's this thing that Trent Reznor does. It's all about this implication of fuller harmony just using two notes and how incredibly impactful that is to have the spaciousness, to have it not all spelled out for you, to kind of insert your own, I don't know. It's like your own expectations, your own everything. And the spaciousness just has an emotional effect on you. It just feels, you know, I think it can make things sometimes for me feel a little lonely. It can make things feel like there's a yearning. It can make things feel, I mean, it depends, just however you hear it. But there's clearly a relationship between these two parts. They're moving at the same time. And each time they move, for the most part, they're in some kind of harmony with each other. Rarely they go into unison. It's really nice. Okay. Next is Sim Gischel or Gischel. Sim. Okay. Whoa. That's a cool beat. I like that. That's my jam. Isn't the kick drum? It's high and then low. Almost tonal. Making it up. This one's so well mixed. Almost reminds me of some sort of string part that's being like slowed down. But maybe it's more than that. Just being chopped up, interrupted. Oh, the crackles. There's definitely chords. They're just so mangled. Ah! I mean, how much sampling did they do? Wow. Wow. Ah, sorry. Oh, fuck. Jump scare. I feel like there's a theme of degradation. You know, this is not the first track on this album that has felt like something you can recognize is being degraded. And even over time, I feel like there's been a couple where the beats feel like they become less stable as the song goes on, and by the end of it, it's practically falling apart. And you would only know that it's falling apart because we've had so much time with it being more cohesive. So there's this progression. And then this, I swear it's strings. I just feel like it's strings and an old recording. I don't know, but that's the only thing that my brain is able to fill in. Obviously been degraded in some way. So extreme that you could just hear that there's something there that you can recognize, but barely. it's right on the edge. I feel like it's so meticulously put right there. First, the drums had a very clear like which is 4/4, but that second kick is very syncopated. And I'm trying to think of genres that do that a lot. Maybe UK Garage. But then that disappeared as something was fucking with the kick, and it got pushed out. And oh, I also love this. The low, real. This one to me was the most satisfying thing to me, aside from I really liked the groove before it started to fall apart. Was this just the textures of everything, the really high, like crackly, splatty kind of snare, like it almost felt like throwing something at a wall and it would like scatter. It had this like scattering sound, but all that really high little details, little tiny high details. No like high like ee, nothing like that, but like little, and then very deep, well defined bass tones. Okay, next is Parhelic Triangle, and I recognize this name, so I'm wondering if I've listened to this on a live stream before. Oh yeah, the rubber band one. And maybe some bees? Flies? I just recently rewatched Contact, and I feel like this sound, this wash reminds me of the way that the machine, the spaceship sounded when the rings were spinning. I think it sounds like some kind of metal. I can only pull from my own experience. It reminds me of some of the gamelan instruments that I didn't play them myself, but in the ensemble I was in. Let's see if I can search for what it looks like. These all fade into each other, don't they? It's the only downside of doing it this way. You don't get to hear those transitions. Rayong. That does sound right. Let me look it up. Once I see it, but that does sound right. That is, yeah, that's a crazy song. I do remember it. I don't remember exactly my reaction, though. So that still felt fresh. The rubber bands this time, at least, felt very tonal to me. And yeah, I mean, if you repeat something enough times, I think it's a superpower of our brains searching for meaning and patterns, that we begin to hear melodies from things that aren't specifically notes. I mean, everything, even me speaking now, has notes, but I'm constantly changing the pitch because I'm speaking. So, you know, I mean, you've seen people harmonizing with speeches, right? So they're picking out the predominant note of a syllable or something, and then they're like harmonizing with it. But still, you can, you know, Nine Inch Nails music, all these samples from the Downward Spiral, and he would repeat them over and over again, and you start to hear melodies. Similarly, you can do that with rhythms. You hear something like this rubber band rhythm, which it would be a nightmare to try to line up, like notate on sheet music, because it is definitely, things are not landing perfectly on any sort of grid. But it is repeating, you know, there's a nugget of it that repeats over and over and over again, and our brain eventually starts to organize it. It's like, it's not changing, we're changing. The rubber band beat just started to feel very regular and predictable. We start to learn, and then the tones came out of it. Those tones were in the rubber band, a little bit of now. All right, next is called Bine. feels like a brain injury. Definitely detecting subdivisions now. Before it sounded like chaos. Did I change? Did it change? Oh, God. I need a second. That one's pretty overwhelming to me. I can't play anything that I heard. I heard tones, but I just don't think I was able to focus on them enough to remember what was happening. And I'm not sure, even in the background, I picked up on a pattern necessarily to the tones. They're very ghostly and uncomfortable. But if I ignored the drums, which I was able to do for like little moments, I felt more relaxed. So I wouldn't say that by themselves they would have felt so scary. I think it was just the combination of this very slow moving and unpredictable kind of haze with this frantic sounding drum loop. Drums, I say loosely, I mean, sounds like a lot of found sounds and things. But they are certainly being iterated in kind of glitch drum ways. But at first it was just, it felt like complete chaos. And then there were moments where I started to detect patterns, pulses, and it, like I could imagine if it was Max, MSP, or something else, but like it was going through at random, like subdivisions, like, but it could, they were like musical, or, well, I mean, music is math. Eidetic casein? That's a protein, right? But what's eidetic? The ability to vividly recall images, sounds, or objects with extraordinary precision and detail. Eidetic. Oh, okay. Like a photographic memory. I didn't pronounce that right, did I? Wow, this is crazy. Oh my God. Roger. This one has such a degree of randomness to the tonal parts. I'm kind of having a hard time with it, but it's okay. The drums are great. I feel like you could use this for that meme of like when you go to bed and your mix sounds really great, and then in the morning you turn it on, you check it, and it sounds like oh my God. That's crazy. Well, you know, I'll tell you, the reason that one feels so weird is because there's I think three things going on with the tonal parts of it. Because the drums are actually pretty reliable. It sounds like a beat. You know, there's some glitching happening, but you know, pretty much the whole time, you know, it's very clear what's happening to the drums, but the tonal parts are weird. I think there are pitches that when triggered are changing as they go. So it's not just like it's like a lot of bending down sounds. So that gives it that kind of sickly or like drunk or like unstable feeling. Even if they programmed a very, very pretty, predictable melody, I think it would still feel really weird. Also, I do think what they have being either triggered, generated, programmed, whatever, is also very dissonant, chromatic, and feels random. Couldn't detect the patterns. And so one of my reactions that I thought was interesting was that I wanted to laugh. It was amusing at times. I felt like it was funny. Next is uvial. Okay, the swing knob is being messed with again. Straight eighths. Now. Now it's swinging. Back to straight. That hi-hat is all I had to hold on to. Hi-hat. Little... Okay. The slow-moving synth now. Maybe that's the snoring. Is that slow down maybe? Or white noise maybe? But I like it when it feels like it has a transient. There's so much happening. I bet you that's the snoring. There's no like tonal bass line either, but there's clearly bass parts, bassy parts, bass frequencies that give it, you know, a full dynamic range. Man, that's a high-pitched noise. That's, wow. Yeah, that one did change. Because at first there was a really pretty kind of melody and it was all pentatonic, but then things took a turn and it got really weird. When you have dissonance, I feel like with these ringy sounds, I'm going to play it really high up on the piano because then you can kind of feel the ringing, I think. I don't know, it just feels kind of cinematic, kind of mysterious, like you're skulking around. A little bit shifty eyes, just because of the dissonance combined with, I think, those tones. Because if they're just up here, I don't know, they don't sound so mysterious to me. It's funny, you told me that there was snoring in it, so then I was like, okay, which part's the snoring? That's a whole other way to listen to it, is to know a little bit about how it was made and then be sort of hunting for things. Because I don't think that would have ever occurred to me. I didn't hear someone snoring. So that's crazy. All right, next is, and last is lentic catachresis. Oh, I hear a voice. Oh my god, that's a chord progression. Starts here. Oh, it's changing now. Listen, sorry. Oh god, is this speeding up? It is. Oh god. It took away our pulse. Fuck your pulse. There's that hi-hat. Just like... There's this minor chord that's just stuck in the fray. There we go. Oh! I would not have expected it to go here. This... It's like we're in a ball rolling down this never-ending hill. And all of our bones are broken and sticking out. I almost like want that consistent hi-hat to go away. It's like irritating. It's so normal and consistent and just keeps like, you know, the sounds are kind of interesting. I like the way they sound. Certain sounds tickle your brain, you know? Who out here is falling asleep to this? I think this would go into the category of albums that I will not be putting on in the car to go run errands. Only put it on to study it. There was one that I think it was Sim Gishel, that had this groove that I really loved. I could see myself listening to that one again for pure pleasure. Well, I will say this one was in a lot of ways as weird as I was expecting, but there were more melodic things than I thought there would be. So that was fun to get to, figure some stuff out on the keyboard, and a nice little surprise. It is very niche, and I think because it's niche, the fan base is probably very devoted because they're not trying to be anything than what they are. They aren't trying to please you. Clearly, they seem to be in the pursuit of experimentation, texture, fuck around and find out, and I don't know exactly what they're trying to say. I don't even know if it is that kind of music where they have a message that they carry with them that they're trying to impart through the music, or if it is I have these tools, let's see what happens. I like this. I like where this is going. It is stimulating and pleasing to me as an artist. I'm going to follow this to its illogical conclusion. So it feels kind of, in that way, it feels experimental. It's a very different kind of listening. I feel like, it's so fun. There's so many different ways I feel like I listen to music. And this one is so, it's highly intellectual to me, but at the same time, there is a very basic lizard brain reaction to things. The bodily sensations, I feel like my brain is being reprogrammed. It's still very physical, and often not physical in a sort of I'm moving to the beat way. Occasionally, yes. But I find myself thinking a lot while I'm listening to this. Not a strongly emotional experience for me, more processing, looking for patterns, like I'm a detective or something, and then also just reacting to the onslaught of perceived chaos, unpredictable everything. I mean, there's so little to predict, but you keep trying. Thanks so much for those of you that are here live to hang out with me and experience this. All right, and with that, I bid you adieu.